Hey, it's Denise here from The Minimal Mom, and today we're going to be talking about being stressed out. Not sure if you've ever been that way before or felt like that, but many women all over the world have. And I'm here to tell you, you're not alone. You're not the only one. And women have this deep regret and all of these feelings of inadequacy. And I think a lot of that comes from this quote I'm going to read. So, women are expected to work like they don't have children and to raise their children as if they don't work. And so, as moms, we're kind of doing it all. You know, we are working most of the time, and if you're lucky enough not to have to work, I don't want you to just think, oh, I just think she sits on her butt all day and eats Cheetos while watching Netflix or whatever. That's not what I think you're doing at all, and I know that. And I say you're lucky because I think it is the hardest, most rewarding job that any of us can have, to get to parent these little people that we brought into the world and be with them 24/7. I think it is precious time that, a lot of us don't get to spend with our own kids. And I know it's not easy. I know there's hard days, just like there is in any kind of occupation or job. So don't take it, lightly that I'm just thinking, oh, she's lucky she gets to stay at home and she doesn't have to do anything. I've been without a job for a little while, and girl, I know. It's hard when you don't have any other adults to talk to. It's hard, especially if you really don't have the money to be going out and doing anything. So you're stuck at home, because that's how it was for me. So I was stuck at home and I didn't have any adult interaction, but that's besides the point. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about today. So I'm sure that men have, all these emotions and stuff that they have to deal with as well. I'm not a man. I'm not sure what they deal with. So we're going to go with what I know as a woman, and that's what we're talking about today. And so I know that many of us, we work and we cook, clean, and take care of the kids. Some of us, I'm going to school right now, so I work full time. I'm going to school. On my days off, I'm cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids, running errands, doing all the things. And so I understand that other people are doing the exact same things, and their life is just as hard, if not harder, than mine is. Every one of us has certain things that we're dealing with. But one thing that can make it a lot easier is minimizing. And it has been super impactful on my life. And I want to tell you about it, and that way you can do it and it can make your life better, and you're not as stressed out or anything else, like what we were talking about before. So back up here, I'm a little OCD, and so even if my husband tries to clean, on Friends, how they talk about it's not Monica clean, that's how I am. So even if someone else kind of tries to clean, I can tell that it's not really, really clean. And so it's not Denise clean. So even if someone cleans, normally I would end up cleaning behind them. So now my husband's got to a point to where he doesn't clean at all because he knows I'm going to come behind him and clean. So it is par for the course. It's what you get. There's no point in him wasting his time because I'm going to clean it anyways. But I can vividly remember coming home from work, and I would be in a good mood right until a point that I walked in the house, and then I would just instantly get pissed off. And it would be because I would walk in and there would be toys everywhere. I mean, as far as the eye could see, there was no horizon endpoint in sight. It was just stuff pulled out everywhere, and it didn't matter if it was toys, there'd just be all kinds of stuff everywhere. And so then I would get pissed off because I would know that, I would either have to start cleaning right now, and I was already tired from working a 12-hour shift. So I would get super pissed off because, I've come home from this 12-hour shift and it doesn't look like anybody else has done anything in the house. And so, nobody can help or do anything. And I'm the one stuck, carrying the heavy load, doing it all. And it didn't matter if, you know, people had done something that day, like if my husband had really picked up, maybe he had and you just couldn't tell because the kids pulled it back out again or something of that nature. And so, but I would get pissed off because I'm like, you know, if I don't clean it up right now, then my next 2 days off, all I'm going to be able to do is clean my whole 2 days off. And so I knew, you know, like maybe I'd plan something, you know, us to go on an outing or do something fun together or just have like a little mini adventure or go away for the weekend or whatever. And now all of that's just kind of kaput and thrown out the door because, you know, I walk in and everything's everywhere and it's going to take, you know, days to get the house back to even being normal. And so then I would do the revenge clean where, you know, I go through the house and I'm like slamming the cupboard doors and I'm like scrubbing really, really hard, and the whole time I'm yelling and saying how no one helps and no one does anything and I'm the only one that, you know, does anything around here. Why can't anyone help out or just pick up after themselves? You know, I know you've been there, you've done it. Real moment here, I have to. I don't really anymore. We've gotten to a point to where we don't have that much stuff, so it doesn't really get pulled out through the day. But I digress anyways. So then, you know, you're hurting your family's feelings over this stuff that really doesn't matter that much. Like 20 years from now, is it going to matter if on Tuesday, July 23rd, that the house was unclean? No, it's not. It's really, really not. And I've been there on the receiving end of people hurting your feelings and family members hurting your feelings, and there's no amount of stuff on God's green earth that is worth that. And I do not want to be that person that hurts my family's feelings over stuff. I just don't want to be. I'm not going to be. And so one of the ways to not be that person is to get rid of it. And it has been so rewarding for us. Now, there's not stuff all over the house whenever I come home. Yeah, there's some times when I come home and I'm already a little aggravated or something, and I come in and stuff's a mess and I'm like, oh, you know, I gotta clean. But not to the extent that I used to be at all. And a lot of it has to do with if there's not that much stuff there to begin with, then there's not that much stuff that the kids can pull out or have all throughout the house. And so it just makes it a lot easier, and it makes it a lot more of a better fit for my family. And everyone's different, and you know, we all want certain things or like things a certain way, and maybe you just like a lot of things. I don't, and I prefer my family over all of the stuff. I don't want to hurt their feelings because they have pulled out stuff and played and been imaginative and, you know, actually been playing with their toys and wanted to be close to my husband who's in the living room, so they've pulled everything out into the living room. I don't want to be that person. So, you know, now that we have simplified and we don't have as much stuff, it's easier for them to pick it up too. Like, when I say pick up your toys, there's not 400 toys in the floor, there's like 4. And so it's a whole lot easier to pick up 4 than it is 400. So like my daughter, Sarah, who's 2, you know, she does not like it. She wants to be like the ruler of the roost, but you'll have to tell her a couple of times, but she'll pick up her stuff. You have to get stern about it, but she'll get it up. And so, you know, it's simple enough that a 2-year-old can do it, and I don't have to come in and try and like clean sweep the entire house and make sure that everything's put up and put away. Everything in our house has a place, and so both of my kids know where all their toys go. So it's easy for them to help out, and I'm not the only one doing anything now, you know? And a good way to put it is like a juggler. I can't juggle, so I'm not gonna try. I don't have a bunch of balls I'm gonna throw up, but you'll get what I'm going for with the analogy as I explain it. So let's say you have this one ball that you're going to juggle. So you're really just throwing this one ball up and catching it and throwing it up however many times you want to. And we're going to call this ball job. So you have this one ball, job, and it's really easy to do your job. So, you know, you can spend as long as you want to holding it, with it, whatever, and then you can throw it up when you want to and let it come down and hold it for however long you want to. So then you're going to add another ball. So now we're adding house. So now you're swapping these balls and they're going up and coming down and going up and coming down. So you've got all these things. Well, you're not spending quite as much time on your job because you're having to, you know, move into your house or whatever it is. So then we're adding another one, your spouse. So with that, you know, going around and around, you're not getting to spend as much time on the first two because you're spending time with your spouse. And so then a baby comes along, so we add in another ball. So then another baby comes along and we add in another one. And then that first baby wants to play basketball, so we add in another one. And then the second baby wants to dance, and so we add another one. And then you get a dog and we add another ball. So it just keeps going and going and going. And oh, I forgot the ball of all of the stuff to fill up the house, you know, like your furniture, your appliances, all of the things. So you have all these balls that you're juggling. And it's obvious as you're juggling, the more balls you have, the faster you have to get rid of them. The faster they're going through your hands. You're not getting to spend as much time with these balls. You know, you're not getting to hold them quite as long. They're having to just kind of pass you by like ships passing in the night. And that's how it is in life. The more things that you add to your life, then the less time you get to spend on the others. So just like with your house and with your stuff, the more stuff that you put into your house, the more stuff you buy and get and receive and get gifted, whatever the case may be, the more stuff that you get and bring into your house, the less stuff that you're getting to spend, or the less time that you're getting to spend on the other things. So the more things that you have, the longer it takes you to clean. The more things you have, the longer it takes you to do anything. Like, let's just say dusting. Okay, if in your living room all you have is a coffee table and a TV console, then it's not going to take you very long to dust. But then let's say you add end tables, and then you add a sofa table along the back of the sofa, and then you add a couple of picture frames, and then you have to put something up above the fireplace to make it look right because that's what people say, and you know, you have to do all of the things that everyone says, and you know, it has to look just like everyone else's. So you start having to dust all this stuff, and it takes you longer and longer and longer the more that you've acquired. Mopping, sweeping, everything is the same way. The more stuff you have that you have to move and clean up under and clean off of or whatever, then the longer it takes you to do any of that stuff. And the less time you get to spend on like the important things to you. So let's say you had this important piece of furniture that you really loved, and it used to be your grandmother's or whoever's. Because you've got all these other things, you can't really see the importance or the significance of whatever piece of furniture was your grandmother's, because there's all this other stuff crowded around it that makes it less significant of a piece. There's no statement there when everything is there. And going back to the juggling analogy, you can step out of the way and let one of the balls fall, and you know, you get to decide what that is. So whether it be, you know, your kids, your husband, you know, whatever. I myself, I'm not going to step out of the way and let one of my kids fall or my husband fall. You know, we can always change houses, we can move, we can do whatever. You know, the house is not important, it's who you share it with. And you know, maybe this is a tough season in your life and you need to say, hey, we're going to take a step back and we're not going to play basketball this year because we've got a lot of other extracurricular things that we're doing. Maybe you have an elderly parent or something like that that you're having to take care of. Whatever the case may be, maybe it's like, okay, we just don't have any time to put toward that endeavor this, you know, this school year or whatever. Maybe you need to take a step back and not only, you know, minimize the things in your house, maybe you need to minimize the things in your life. So maybe that's saying no to something, and I don't want you to go out and just say no to everything, but you need to limit yourself because you're not going to be able to do it all. Nobody can. We're not perfect. We're human. We mess up, you know, and we can't be everywhere at one time. So you have to know what you're capable of and what you're not capable of. And, you know, I know that for me as a person, it's not capable for my house to be completely spotless clean all the time. You know, the bathroom is maybe clean this week, and, you know, where you could eat off the toilet, and then, you know, maybe I haven't dusted the living room because I hadn't had time to do that, or because, you know, I wanted to spend time outside with my kids when, you know, it was pretty outside, or whatever the case may be. But you have to decide what's important to you, and is it worth it to get rid of the stuff in order to be a better fit for your family. And I really just want to leave y'all with this last thing. I was talking earlier and to another lady, and we were talking about the serenity prayer, and I'd already kind of decided I was going to do a video, and it just kind of hit home with me, and I was like, wow, I never thought about the serenity prayer in this context before. But if you're not familiar with the serenity prayer, I'm going to say it. It is, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So to me, I was already thinking about, you know, minimalism and, you know, doing the juggling scenario with y'all on the video. And so it really just made me stop and think, you know, what in your life can you change? What can you back away from? And how do you know the difference? You have to pick out what's important to you and edit, you know, edit your life, edit your house, edit your lifestyle, see what's important and what's not. And I'm telling you, when you minimize stuff, it just brings your level of life and happiness, it just goes through the roof. It is amazing. And so I want that for you. I want to encourage you. Maybe this has given you that little oomph, you know, to finally start, you know, going through your stuff or doing a purge or whatever it may be, or really just to see what activities or whatever, you know, maybe you need to step away from. But whatever the case may be, I hope this helps. I love you all. God bless. And I hope you have a great day. I'll see you next time.